Like, we can talk about the weather all we want, but then the weather comes and it's pretty exacting. It doesn't matter your politic, your skin color, how big your family is, whether you had an abortion or not, how much money you have. If a cyclone snow bomb is gonna come, it's gonna come. Now, you may have the ability to kind of deal with the weather a little differently because of your access to resource. Um, and I think that is the piece that is critical, no matter what side of the fence you want to sit on politically or what color of your skin. It's like the access to resource.
Every little kid is taught that they shouldn't talk to strangers. I mean, do you talk to strangers? How do you know if a stranger is worth speaking to? Hey, kid, don't talk to strangers. Where's my daughter at? I'm gonna go get my daughter in here in a minute and tell her she's 3 weeks old, but she needs to know this.
I think people are overwhelmed. I think people are just really trying to get along. I don't know how big the disaster is going to have to be to wake us up. I don't know. My thing lately about going to the gym is I go to the gym to be prepared to volunteer as tribute. I do think that people don't want to be uncomfortable, and I think that is not possible. What's really uncomfortable is this idea of actually having to do something so outside of your normal routine and status quo that it's shocking for people. Shocking. And two, fear. I think these are the two things that we're really working with, and that if we want to look at our history over time, these are the two areas that either really make change happen or nothing happens. But nothing never not happens. People are being used. I wish they could see that. Their hate is being used. It's being used against them. Because it's not real. We're all spiritual beings having a very human experience. Whether you believe in God or not, or that there's an afterlife, the fact of the matter is we're choosing to agree to, things that really doesn't matter. All for a capitalistic ideal that really doesn't work.
As your president, I will pursue a complete reform of our economy to bring back millions of new jobs into our country. Millions of new jobs. We've lost our jobs like we're a bunch of babies. They've gone to other countries. They've gone to Mexico. They've gone to many other countries. China's taking massive advantage of us.
Essentially, our interests are sold out as the white working class to cheap foreign labor, and no one cares how 100 of our people every single day in the poor white working class die to the opioid epidemic.
You can be really mad about not having a job and then looking at and the poverty your family is facing and looking at that, but my blackness had nothing to do with that. And a lot of the things that you have in life is built on slavery and black people and immigrants.
You will not replace us!
You will not replace us! You will not replace us! You will not replace us!
I don't think it's natural for us to be angry and afraid all the time. I look at, those videos of the white supremacists and feeling like they're going to be erased, and these, the need to feel, powerful. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad to me.
We are a people with interests, and we are a people who will not be replaced. We are a people who have for too long cowered and scared of the idea of being called racist. But this no longer affects us.
The basis of it is lack. that I'm gonna have everything and you have nothing and I deserve it, and there's just no end game there.
We are the historic majority. We define this country, not anyone else. This country ultimately belongs to us in terms of what it means, in terms of its history, and in terms of its future. So get used to that.
It's like the concept of like political correctness. Fuck political correctness. It's like, really, you're gonna call me nigger? I'm gonna call you honky? Like that's what we're gonna do?
Yeah.
Because we feel better somehow? You feel better? And I've been called nigger a lot. It's like that makes you feel better?
White lives matter! White lives matter! White lives matter! White lives matter! White lives matter!
It's the reason why it's easier to hearken to a magical past, because it's the fear of the unknown. So it's easy for white people to say, the white supremacists, we're going to go back to a better time when black people were in chains and we were running things like you weren't ever running. It's just a very weird understanding of self, of like whiteness in this context of America.
I believe the white race is the only race legal to discriminate against. You can say whatever you want to about a white race, and that's going to be, you're going to consider a racist. But a black group go over and say Black Lives Matter, and it's not racist. How is that possible?
It's based on fear of reprisal of people of color. I think for Obama to be president, it activated the deep-seated fear of a past that this country hasn't reckoned with, which is how it was born, the slaughtering of Native Americans and the Middle Passage experience. I think deep down, white folks are reacting to a genetic code that is trying to maintain their survival.
People can't see what's happening in Europe. It's on purpose. It's white genocide. That's what's going on. And it's an attack on Christianity, too.
I think this current administration is using fear and race politics to starve the people and bend them to their will. I do think that.
You're up there, you've got half the room going totally crazy, wild. They loved everything. They want to do something great for our country. And you have the other side, even on positive news, really positive news, like that, they were like death and un-American. Un-American. Somebody said treasonous. I mean, yeah, I guess why not? Can we call that treason? Why not?
A lot of us watched The Apprentice. We did. I watched it. I'm not going to pretend I didn't watch. I just don't think he should be president, but you were good on go back to TV. Not this kind of TV. Like on the news a lot. I don't think it's good for you. I don't think he's having fun.
Do you think you'll be able to subvert them? You can do this. We have to finish what your grandfather started. A fire won't cut it this time. We can't screw this up. Secrets are for the people. We can't screw this up. Secrets are for the people. Secrets are for the people.
Yeah, but I think that there's a conversation that's happening online about, let's stop call out culture, shaming people isn't, and I'm like, oh God, people, like that's not the conversation. Healthy shame is good. Calling people to the mat when they're egregious in behavior is necessary. What?
I wish I could stand here today and say that my words of last October have been proven wrong, that I had been unfair to inveigh against the daily sundering of our country, that I had been mistaken about the personal attacks, that I had exaggerated the threats against principles, freedoms, and institutions, the flagrant disregard for truth and decency, the reckless provocations, most often for the pettiest and most personal reasons, reasons that have nothing whatsoever to do with the fortunes of the people that we have all been elected to serve.
I think engaging people sometimes requires a certain amount of rigor. Because look, if you don't think I love you, then there's nothing that I'm going to do in the world that's going to convince you of it. And definitely not my tone. And I have a cadre of friends that will attest to that.
I have seen the president's most ardent defenders use the now weary argument that the president's comments were meant as a joke, just sarcasm, only tongue-in-cheek. But treason is not a punchline, Mr. President.
Like, if you don't think that I love you, because I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't be, being rapey with those women, come on.
The president said that the State of the Union address was meant to promote and encourage unity in government. Then why follow up less than a week later with this divisive and harmful rhetoric? Unity is not secured in a speech. It must be pursued constantly through appropriate behavior, mutual respect, and gained by effective leadership.
And I don't know, I feel the reason why I guess I responded to the kindness and compassion comments the way that I did is because my compassion isn't warm and fuzzy, neither is my kindness.
Mr. President, respect is earned, not commanded. Applause signals approval of an idea, not loyalty to one's country. Our Democratic colleagues love this country as much as we do. To suggest otherwise is simply unconscionable. None of us in Congress pledge loyalty or service to the president. This is not a royal court. Our oath is to the Constitution and to the people.
Oh, and like the liberal folks that are like impeach Trump, no, that's not it. No, let's keep him there. Because what's behind him is not good.
As members of Congress, we must never accept undignified discourse as normal because of the requirements of tribal party politics. None of this behavior should ever be regarded as normal. We must never allow ourselves to lapse into thinking that this is just the way things are now.
The cost of freedom is being comfortable. No pain, no gain on this one. And we are not free. This country wasn't even founded on it. And so the fact that people use that is unfortunate. It's unfortunate because it's just not true. We are bound to something, whether we believe it or not.
We must recognize that this is aberrant, destructive behavior, whatever rationale its defenders may offer. And we must never shrink from opposing it, for it is in the opposing this behavior that we defend our norms, our ideals, and our values. It is in opposing this behavior that we stand for decency.
I believe there's more of us that are on the fence or a little bit more interested in having something different, even though we don't know what it is, than the few people that want to just ride or die this shit show.
Do you think you'll be able to subvert them? Do you think you'll be able to subvert them? You can do this. We have to finish what your grandfather started. A fire won't cut it this time. We can't screw this up. Secrets are for the people. Secrets are for the people.
I do think it starts in the community. I do think it starts in places, like here in small towns where people just really work together. Create bartering systems, I do think there's a little bit in regards to like divesting. I do think communities should kind of hunker down, let go of like these notions of race, see your fellow man, all that shit. Like I do think that that's the only way out is through. I don't know how important it is anymore for people to really be looking at a big picture. I think it's difficult for people to look at a big picture when their small picture is in crisis. And a lot of people's small pictures are in crisis. it's really helping. It's really helping each other. It's really looking at what you have and sharing it. It's not going to mean anything anyway. You can have all the money in the world, but the Bitcoin guy, if they met, that might be it. You know, like, you can't take it with you. So these like larger things that are kind of happening when you look at smaller communities and small towns where you actually have access to do something, it means you're gonna have to get the fuck up off your couch. Like, it's not about when the next iPhone comes out. Like, it's not about these things that have been props for doing well, like our props for what it means to be successful. That it's like we have to get there. Like, we have to get, like, Kim Kardashian. I mean, who, God bless you, but you can't really be, you know, focusing there. It's difficult for people to be liked. I know it's difficult for people just to be liked, like to meet someone and enjoy them. I think people I feel so freaked out or worried about the level of expectation. So don't have any expectation. Don't be crazy. Like, don't be all these things. And I have lots of expectations, and I'm totally crazy. So, but I think a lot of people feel confined. I do think a lot of women kind of feel confined. And I do think a lot of people feel confined in how they are viewed. I think particularly for Black women, though, yeah, everybody wants to get a tan, but nobody wants to be Black. I'm an idea, I'm a fantasy, I'm an example, I'm a pillar, I'm a good one. I used to spend a lot of time caring what people think and like Black people, white, like, just really kind of trapped, especially growing up as an immigrant, growing up in Arizona, spending a lot of time with people who, around colorblind politics, and really not coming into like a consciousness of self until I lived in DC in my late 20s and started to read things that I wasn't exposed to really kind of understand how I see the world. I think people assume a lot of things about me.
What do you think they assume?
Oh my God, they assume that I'm a Rasta because my hair is natural. Like, I can't have an experience independent of what somebody thinks what it means to be Black. Why are you asking me these things? The best thing about me that's kind of a secret, is that I'm really funny. That's the best thing about me, is that I'm actually really funny. There's this hardcore, like, serious thing, but I'm actually really funny, and I will tell a off-color, insensitive, politically incorrect joke faster than most. We're in a time where people's words are being used against them. I think it's hard for people to be vulnerable. I know it's hard for me, as much as I cried on tape. I think my good friends know me, my friends that really know me really well, I think understand that about me and like do the workaround to be disappointed in other humans. We're so lame as a species. We're so tiring. I see cats and dogs are just like, oh, these people. We depend on them. Oh, we only had thumbs. Like, aren't we tired of ourselves? Like, we have to be at this point. Aren't we just tired? We're a living organism. If we don't work it out, Mother Nature surely will. we're so arrogant. Like, we know that there was other species here before us, and yet we think that that our time won't be up too. Like, don't we want to just make it really good? Like, while we're here for everyone? There's enough. Something that I know for sure, that's Oprah asked that kind of question. This is kind of an Oprah question. Like, something that I know for sure is that there's enough for everybody. Or we all wouldn't be here. Because do you know what I mean? We're an organism. So, like, if there wasn't enough, then, I mean, I think there is like a balancing out of things. I think if you want to think like environmentally, like, there's always a balancing out. But we're all here. Like, we all exist. Everything. Like, people are like, I don't believe in gay people. I don't believe. It's like, well, it doesn't matter if you don't believe it. It exists, so it's here. Like, your belief doesn't have anything to do with the reality of whether or not something exists. Like, you don't have to like it for it to be. I wish, like, people would understand that for themselves. It'll make their life so much easier. It really would. Like, hate doesn't have to. It doesn't encroach on you. You should worry about the things that are actually encroaching on you. The gay kid sitting next to your kid in the school is not encroaching. Like, there's enough for everybody. A lot of people have $1 billion. Like, like, you come for me or one of my own, oh, I'll come for you. And I won't stop because I'm not afraid to die. Like, I don't want to die. I don't even want you to die. Like, it's like, I want to say, like, David Duke, really? Come on, man, really? It's one note you've been singing for years. Really? Still? You're better? Okay. Like, what if we just agree that you were better? Would you just stop? Because it's not good for people. You probably have a little angina. Like, it can't be good for you. Can you just stop?